Go ahead, call me crazy. But the reliably liberal Commonwealth of Massachusetts could be on the verge of switching John Kerry's old Senate seat from blue to red. With a special election still more than a month away, two new polls show Republican Gabriel Gomez now within single digits of the liberal Democratic candidate and current Congressman Ed Markey. Joining us now is the Republican Senate nominee from Massachusetts, the aforementioned Gabriel Gomez. Mr. Gomez, welcome. Why are the polls tightening?
You know, I think the polls are indicative that we're focusing on what people care about, and that's the economy, getting jobs back to Massachusetts. And my opponent is engaged on everything but the economy, and he's talking about a people's pledge and things that are not related to the economy.
You know, we were talking earlier in the show how far the U.S. is falling behind its long-term trends. You know, we're like $3 trillion short of where we should be on GDP, 10 or 12 million jobs short of where we should be on that measure. If you were elected, how do you get this economy growing from 2%, let's say, to 4 or 5%? How do you get the unemployment rate down from 7.5% down to 4%? How do you do it?
I think you focus on the problem we have right now, and that's the $17 trillion in debt. We have economic policies that are coming from D.C. that are not business-friendly, and we need to have companies, so they don't have as much uncertainty, have confidence that the government has their back. We need to get policies that are business-friendly. For instance, on Obamacare, you know, I agree with the premise of Obamacare, but it should have been done at a state level, and it's costing a lot more than it should have. On Dodd-Frank, you know, you've got small businesses now that are going to banks, and they're dealing with more compliance officers than businesses. We need to get business-friendly policies so that companies can start investing in themselves, their people, and more importantly,
you know, I hear a lot of CEOs, large, medium, and small, especially the Business Roundtable, but not only. They want tax reform, Gabriel. They want it now. They don't want to be double taxed on their foreign earnings, and they want to be competitive again.
Absolutely. We need to have a comprehensive tax reform, and I think we need to start looking at, you know, the corporate tax loopholes as well as the personal loopholes. There's absolutely a tax reform. We shouldn't have a tax code that is thousands of pages long. It should be a simpler tax code so people can actually start functioning and start working on the economy.
So your biggest issue sounds like it's going to be the economy. Now, with that in mind, what's your biggest beef? What's your major criticism of Ed Markey?
Well, my greatest criticism of Ed Markey is that he's never been in the real world, and he's focused on everything but the economy, and he's never done anything that's actually stimulated the economy. Whereas I've been in the private sector my whole life. I spent 9 years in the military as an aircraft carrier pilot, as a Navy SEAL, and more importantly, 16 years in the private sector helping companies grow and be successful. And I've challenged them to 3 debates. I'd like to stand side by side with them and actually debate the issues that are important to people, and that's the economy and getting jobs back to Massachusetts.
Is he a taxer? Is that what Markey is?
I think Mr. Markey would welcome any kind of tax. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you about another issue, immigration reform. We were talking about earlier in the show. Where will you come out on immigration reform with the Marco Rubio Gang of 8? There's a new study out today by the Heritage Foundation that's rather gloomy, and the debate goes on. You yourself are a descendant of immigrants. Where will you come out?
It's true. I have a unique perspective. I'm the oldest son of 2 Colombian immigrants, and I'm with Marco Rubio on this. I mean, the first thing you need to do is you need to secure the border and set the milestones that the group of 8 have set out. You secure the border first, and then you worry about what's north of the border. I'm with them on the pathway to citizenship, and this is actually, because in reality, if you don't do anything, you're creating amnesty. You just have amnesty right now. This is actually a pro-job growth plan that the Gang of 8 has out there.
Why is it pro-job growth? That's an interesting take. We just had a debate about that. In your view, why immigration reform? Why do you see immigrants coming into the country as pro-job growth?
Well, you're going to have 11 to 12 million illegal or undocumented workers right now. You give them a pathway to citizenship, they're going to be paying taxes. A lot of them are entrepreneurial. They're going to start businesses. They're going to hire people. They're going to start businesses that grow. This is a very pro-job growth bill, and I think Marco Rubio explains it quite well.
Where do you come out on the gun control debate, which looks moribund in the Congress, but one never knows?
You know, I would have voted in favor of the Senator Manchin bill. I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. I've got another unique perspective on this. I was a SEAL. I fired every one of these weapons. I do think you need to close the gun show loophole and tie it to mental health. It's the same background check you have if you buy it from a licensed dealer. So you should have the same background check if you buy it from a gun show or an internet sale.
All right, so you're going to have enough dough. We just have 20 seconds left. You got enough dough to run a good campaign?
Absolutely. We are confident we're going to be able to go head-to-toe with Congressman Markey, and we look forward to contrasting our differences in both our business perspective as well as everything else.
All right, very good. Gabriel Gomez, former Navy SEAL, former businessman, pro-growth from what I gather. Thanks very much for coming on. All best on the campaign trail. That's it for this evening's show. I'm Larry Kudlow.